Hello, hello. Testing. Testing 1, 2. What's up, what's up? Hello to everyone here, anyone who will be stopping in. And we're going to cut this one to YouTube. So, hello, YouTube. We're going to have a couple introductions here as I'm just chilling. What's up, Erica? We'll keep this one open to chat. Normally, I don't do these videos open to chat. I like to do them live to kind of show you that it's not scripted and just take you through a real human's thought process. But at the same time, I do prepare for these videos. I think about them quite a bit, and I prepare the sources. I prepare the things that I'm going to talk about. But from there, it's very off the cuff. I want it to be real, and I want it to give you a lot of facts as well as perspective. And for anyone who's stopping by who has watched me for a long time, back in the pandemic years when I had more time, I actually started doing several different kinds of content, but one of them was legal lectures where I would just talk about, we did 1 or 2 videos on law and business stuff, and Erica and I did a couple true crime episodes, and I'm not sure how many videos she and I will be making in the future, but I can tell you that there's some really cool videos I want to make on economics and business lessons, as well as like different legal lessons and outlooks that I want to do. And so this one's going to be more of a political one, but I'm just going to give you my perspective and opinions on a bunch of different facts. And I thought about making a couple different kinds of videos here, because I'll first say that I am not a fan of Donald Trump. I think he's a horrible human being. I think he's a bad politician. I think he's a poor leader. I think all of those things. But the fact of the matter is the Democrats have absolutely been in the toilet, and the stronger candidate seems to have won this election. But allow me to say that economically, professionally, morally, legally, it is disappointing that Donald Trump is president again. And I am really at a loss for words as an intelligent, educated, generally kind person, that we have someone in the office who is none of those things. And I'm just going to kind of dive into some things that are not really one-sided, but that we really need from him, that we really needed from our president in general. And I'll kind of give you the baseline and some perspective on those thoughts. But yeah, I really can't believe that guy from Home Alone, that guy from The Apprentice, is going to spend 8 years as the president of the United States. If we're really honest with ourselves, like the Charlottesville, grab him by the pussy, racist ass New Yorker, like when everyone's older, there's going to be a lot of regret about this. I don't know what more to tell you except that that's an objective truth. I'm not saying that I have no problem for anyone who voted for him, and yeah, no problem at all. But I cannot believe that we've spent 12 years listening to this guy promote himself and operate on a really low level intellectually, like I said, morally, economically. It's really amazing to me how far the bar has fallen when you think about the kind of dignity and intelligence that not so much George Bush, but like Barack Obama, John McCain, Mitt Romney. I like, for my generation as a younger person, I don't care about civility and dignity for the sake of themselves. But in the last 8 years, we've really seen how important that is, that people really be open-minded and objectively fair. And I don't know, a lot of stuff has gone down the toilet since 2016. A broader observation I can give you is that people are just uglier, nastier, and dumber than they were 8 years ago. And that's very disappointing to see when the access of information you have is almost limitless, but people are getting more and more narrow-minded, less intelligent, and less aware. And that's because they are sourcing their information for people who package it and deliver it to them. People are no longer going out and getting their information. We're now back in a world where these partisan sources are bringing you your newspaper to the breakfast table and saying, here's what you can think. But the truth is, like, you can go out and get limitless information for yourself. And gladly, there's been a lot of good news sources and opportunities for people to go get information from all sides. But it's becoming harder and harder for people to get information from all sides, really be aware of what is going on, and then make an informed final decision of reality. Instead, people are like having their reality delivered to them, or they're checking out and not participating. And the truth is, both of those sides are failing us very badly. And so the only way to get out of this is to participate more and become more aware. And so that's what I'm going to be doing on some of these videos. But a lot of them will just be special interest on cool things economically, legally, that are fun lessons to share with you guys. So I may make a couple videos fleshing out my opinion on foreign affairs and where we're at, but that's just kind of my introduction. Let me say a little more about myself. I'm extremely disappointed in this country politically. I do not see myself as a Democrat or a Republican anymore. I don't see myself as either of those things. I used to have a friend who was an anarchist and thought that voting for either party was wrong. And I don't agree with that in terms of making one choice over the other. I disagree with people who think that both choices are the same. I think that's impossible. I think there's always one choice better than another. But I really understand people who years ago saw these parties for what they are. They're evil, money-making entities that want to spin the grindstone endlessly and profit off of our employment and our money. And it's been more and more depressing to see. And part of that you can see in the complete failure of leftist progressivism. So like really doesn't do him service, and a very easy example, but like Bernie Sanders, a classic example of leftist progressivism. People can say what they want about him, but he's one of the last people left, especially from the left side, who actually cared about what he said, who actually cared about making life better for people, and was willing to put concrete steps together to make life better in America. Instead, what you're seeing from both sides is them just spinning their wheels. Nothing's getting better. And instead, you're just seeing the middle and upper class continue to bury their heads in the sand about our healthcare system, our employment system, like child hunger, poverty. We are going under, but people just don't want to accept the facts because they're too proud of this country, or because their lives are great, or all of their friends and family's lives are great. So they really act surprised about reality that's happening around them. But no, you can see it in the numbers and the data. And again, that's the basis for the video. The things I'm going to discuss are what we need President Trump to address if he's going to prove himself to be a good president, and if he's going to make things better economically, like he says that he is. So let's first just take a quick look at the national debt. This is where we're standing today. Almost $36 trillion in national debt, with over 320 million people in America. That's over $106,000 of national debt per person in America. This will probably spell our doom eventually. For many years now, China has held over $1 trillion in reserve of American dollars. And so anytime they wanted, they could literally crash our economy just by releasing a bunch of dollars into the world, into the marketplace, as it were, and thereby weakening the American currency and the dollar. The reason they don't do this is because the dollar is the most important currency in the world, and America is the most important consumer of Chinese goods. You know, they are the biggest exporter in the world. We are the biggest importer in the world of goods. So that's the main reason that China wouldn't do that, even though they don't like us. But the simple truth is, like, we are over a barrel, and it's not getting better anytime soon. At the end of Bill Clinton's presidency, we had a surplus, which is to say America had extra money and no debt. And sadly, the George Bush presidency and the Iraq and Afghanistan wars pushed us completely into trillions and trillions of dollars of debt. And no one's really done any better since then. No Democrat, no Republican. And it's never going to get better until we tax heavier and spend less on things like military, healthcare, Social Security. Things that cost trillions of dollars are just going to have to be either cut or we greatly increase taxes. And so that's one of the big things for us to be on the lookout with Trump. The simple truth is that he cuts taxes for the wealthy and makes things worse for the middle class. If anything, increases taxes for them. And so we're expecting the national debt to increase, but people's financial situation to get worse. And we'll talk about it at the end of the video. But ever since the pandemic, even though the stock market has continued to rise and rise for years now, and the wealthy are doing well, and the overall economic outlook of the country is good, the people here are struggling. And again, that's why we're diving into the data to see the truth of that and what we need the president to fix. So let's next look at one of the things that we've been talking about nationally for a while now, which is the rent and housing problem. The standard classic measurement economically for America is a 2-bedroom apartment. That's because the standard American family is like 2 adults, 1.5 to 2 children. And their standard, like on the American average, is going to be in a 2-bedroom apartment. So when we look at what they spend in a year, $1,811 per month times 12. So annually they spend $21,700 on rent. And the average, the median household income, not the average household income measurement is completely screwed in America because of how many low income people we have and then how rich our wealthy are. So that is why we look at the median household income, which is to say the number in the middle of the range and not the average of all the numbers again. But the median income has been rising, but not to match inflation and costs. But it's $80,000, $80,600. So, but look at that, guys. Rent is 25% of the median household income. So once we take 80,600 and we subtract, what was it? 21,700, something like that. We have, wow, we have almost $60,000 left, right? Oh, wait, guys. On average, wait, hold on. I forgot about the C's and the CEs. We skip taxes, y'all. Don't forget. So you're probably going to lose at that income level and with Social Security taxes and with employment taxes and with your IRA and stuff. Not your IRA, your 401k and stuff. You're going to lose at least 30% of this. So let's be generous and say times 0.7. You keep 70% of that. So now that's what we're subtracting our $21,700 from. So the family now has $34,700 left. That's plenty of money, right? No, it's not. And that's part of why Donald Trump got elected, because people are saying, oh, my groceries are so expensive. Like my healthcare is so expensive. Yeah, because we're getting bent over by companies who are making record profits in the pandemic. They saw their costs greatly increase for shipping things. Shipping became more limited. The resources and the ways that it could be transported were stuck. And so it got more expensive. Companies lost money. Well, what happened was they permanently raised everything. And now what you're seeing, this inflation is about half determined by corporate profit. So all this protestation you saw in the election, it's literally us just getting taken for money, for corporate profit, and then a national outcry that's just being motivated by politics. It's so absurd to see. People are getting taken like straight out their pockets and then being manipulated into a false reality about why that's happening. It's just us being milked for money. Anyway, back to what we were getting to. So this is all the income that they have, that average 4-person family. That's what they have for the year. So that goes to food. It goes to the kids' education. It goes to the college fund. It goes to the pets. It goes to the house repairs. It goes to the utility bills. It goes into maybe save it. Like, we're out of money now. Okay. We're out of money now. And so let me skip ahead a little bit. The problem is, even if people aren't spending all the extra money they have, they can be very diligent and almost run out of money. And then they're confronted by unique American problems like medical debt. So let's take a look at this. U.S. residents owe at least $220 billion in medical debt. So let's take a look at that, right, guys? So let's cut down the numbers to 220,000 over what we say, 320 million. So 220,000 billion to million. So over 320. Yeah, man. So the average U.S. resident owes almost $1,000 for medical debt. How crazy is that? And that's, most of us don't have any medical debt. So up that by way, way much. The point at like, we're no longer at the point where you can be a janitor and have a house and be okay. You can't even be an accountant and have 2 kids and a house and be okay in an expensive city. So, I mean, something's got to give, guys. Like, he ran on the promise of everything's getting more and more expensive. I'm going to make it better for you. But first of all, the tariffs aren't going to do that. And that's a separate video from today. But second of all, it's problems like this. This is what has to be attacked. We need more accessible and affordable housing. We need healthcare cleaned up and less expensive for people. We need better access to food. We're going to get into all of that, guys. But there is no promise of this. Without progressivism, without people in office who give a shit, nothing is happening. And people just think, oh, well, my guy, my girl didn't win. My guy did win. Everything's great or everything. No, like, we're going in the toilet as a group and there is no collective effort to fix it. And sadly, a lot of us, who are educated or with good jobs or who are, I'm provided for. But I acknowledge how fucked we are. It keeps getting worse, y'all. So let's keep taking a look at this. Second thing facing our country that's really, really bad and not getting better. Child hunger. So there are only 72 million people in the U.S., right? Sorry, there's only 72 million children in the U.S. Sorry, typo. 14 over 72. That's the percentage of children who don't get 2 square meals a day in this country. Like 19.4% of all children in America don't get enough to eat because they can't. But we're the best country in the world, right? We're the wealthiest country in the world, right? That's that supremacy, that betterness, that holier than thou. It's a lie. It's a lie to support the false pride, the false standards we have that are built on like decades of complacency and doing nothing to get better. Almost 20% of children going hungry, y'all. And that they're not reading as well. They're doing worse in school. They're scoring worse in school. Like they're almost getting dumber because we aren't helping them. We aren't feeding them. We aren't educating them. We suck all the resources out of the public sphere because it's bad. You're seeing the erosion of American success, and we're calling it greatness. We're seeing poverty and starvation, and we're calling it wealth. Because if it's not happening to you, it's not happening, right? And yeah, For people of color, it's much, much worse. Moving on. Next thing, Social Security and healthcare. We need someone to do something about this. And the sad thing for Trump is that he might destroy or kill Social Security. And that's not what we need. But when Social Security came around in either, I think it was 1965. It could be 1945. I think it was 65. It was for people who, when they retired after age 65, they would withdraw benefits based upon the contributions they had made through their life in the workforce. And that would be their way to invest and then get back. It's giving, and it makes a lot of economic sense. You give while you can make, and you receive while you cannot. You are taxed and give a part of your earnings while you are capable and young and making. And then when you retire and you can no longer work, you receive it and you are cared for. It's a great, fundamentally, a great public program. Makes sense. But Social Security has been dying for years because, rewinding back to 1965, people's life expectancy might have been, it was right around 70. They were withdrawing way fewer months, way fewer years than they are now. And people have been earning way more money than they put in. And so the program is dying. Benefits are expected to be payable in full, timely, until 2037. That's just 13 years, guys. And the truth also is that that's on trust fund reserves that are becoming exhausted by then. And so at that point in 2037, taxes would be enough to pay for 76% of scheduled benefits. So, said differently, in 13 years, we lose 24% of Social Security. It's gone. In 13 years, we lose 24% of Social Security because there is now only 76% covered by taxes, and none of what was put forth in the past is now funding. And then it keeps getting worse. You keep kicking that can down the road. Eventually, there's nothing. We either have to give more or we have to kill it. Either way, our generation's fucked. We're not getting anything. But seniors are in trouble if something happens to this. Seniors without substantial savings are in big trouble. And now let's get into healthcare. Another system that Trump and Republicans have been attacking. The truth is that, Obamacare is expensive, but the ability to choose a healthcare plan and the protection for pre-existing conditions has made healthcare better for Americans overall than it was prior to 2008. And that's a fact. But our healthcare system sucks. And, there are people who work for really good facilities or companies and they have a different perspective on it. But the truth is, we have a whole system with over 300 million people. And just like the other economic problems we discussed, doesn't mean just because you don't see it at your work or it doesn't affect you at your home, doesn't mean it isn't a reality. So we need to wake the fuck up. Out of these top 10 countries, Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Netherlands, New Zealand, Switzerland, Sweden, UK, and US. Top 10, first world countries, big money, some really good healthcare systems here. Access to care, US, 10th. Care process, we have really good procedures. We have long-standing ways we go about things and we operate. We have some really good physicians. Second place. Administrative efficiency, 9th. Equity, as in fairness, 9th. Health outcomes, as in what happens when we receive treatment or try to save lives or try to cure someone, 10th. This lie of American exceptionalism, it keeps us complacent. It keeps us from making things better. And again, they're just spinning our wheels. No one actually gives a shit about fixing this. No one has been fixing anything. This side wants to get elected, and this side wants to get elected, and this side wants to get elected.